And how did middle-class white boy Ed Sheeran get named the most important act in black and urban music? His collaborator XO Man is here to explain. He's white with red hair, crudely put, but today the singer Ed Sheeran was named the most important act in black and urban music by the 1Xtra Power List, which calls itself the UK's leading black music radio station. The list itself, in which 3 out of the top 4 acts are white, has been criticised as the saddest list in music history by grime artist Wiley. So has the English music industry gone backwards, as he says, or has it reached a new level of confidence in how it perceives music and colour? Bubbling under Newsnight's Hot 100, here's Stephen Smith.
Let's see where your favourites came in the 1Xtra Power List. At 5, drum and bass outfit Rudimental. It's banker's son Sam Smith at 4. Budding mogul Tiny Tempers at 3. At 2, it's Reigate raised siblings Disclosure. And top of the pile, flame-haired troubadour Ed Sheeran. He's already so big that he has his own body double. 23-year-old Sheeran from Hebden Bridge in Yorkshire has written for One Direction and Taylor Swift, as well as selling lots of records and collaborating here with hitmaker Pharrell.
They should know I bring vibes on a club night, keep the crowd hyped up, run a party red.
But not everyone's satisfied that 1Xtra has come correct with its poll. Take the rapper Wiley. He's had this to say on social media.
I've never been influenced by a white artist to make black music. #never. We've been bumped, basically. Not taking anything away from Ed, he's sick. But black artists in England, we're getting bumped.
Yeah, well, it was very controversial, but it was no surprise to me because it's always been the case, certainly in this country, that it's white artists who have always dominated when it comes to black music, because it just seems to be a more palatable version of the music, more acceptable in this country.
Let's refresh our memory about 1Xtra's Reithian mission statement.
The remit of 1Xtra is to play the best in contemporary black music, with a strong emphasis on live music and supporting new UK artists.
I didn't understand how a radio station, which was promoting black music, playing black music and urban music, had a list that didn't really resemble the people that largely create this music and culture. So it was a state of confusion. That's not to say that anybody on that list didn't deserve to be there because of their talent, but we have to think about how we title the list and what we're actually trying to promote.
1Xtra breakfast.
1Xtra presenter Twin B helped to compile the station's power list.
One thing 1Xtra isn't about is race, to be honest. It's very much about supporting music that fits what we do. The DJs have a big part in what gets played on air and stuff. And Ed Sheeran's been someone who's been championed by a whole heap of DJs across the station from the beginning of his career.
Well, does that mean you need to rebrand the station then and get away from the idea that it's a contemporary black station?
No, not really. I think more people need to listen to it, to be honest, to understand what we do. And understand the landscape of music as well.
There is an actual award for you here. It says 1Xtra Power List 2014, #1, Ed Sheeran.
Hey.
So Sheeran's the first recipient of the 1Xtra bauble. Perhaps they should call it the onesie.
Steve Smith with that lasting thought. The recording artist XO Man is here with me in the studio. He's collaborated with Ed Sheeran, and Neil McCormick, chief music critic of the Daily Telegraph, is with us too. And chaps, this is not about talent. We're not questioning talent, but when you hear the grime artist Wiley say this is the saddest list in music history because it's all the wrong way round, do you hear what he's getting at?
I can hear it, but I believe a lot of it's been changed and interpreted wrongly. As far as I'm concerned, the list is a power list. And we have to look at what they said. They never said a black list, they never said an urban list, they said a power list. And from my experience, Ed was championed by 1Xtra first. He is influenced by black music. Even himself wouldn't say he's influenced to it, but he is influenced by it, which is, as well as every other music,
But are you happy with him being the #1 on the list of most important act in black and urban music? I mean, that sounds crazy, doesn't it?
It's beyond colour, man. This is art.
Right.
This is art, and you can't segregate it like that. He's the one person that I know that can work with Taylor Swift to Rick Ross to myself. They're totally different genres of music. And Taylor Swift's white, Rick Ross is black, but it's beyond that.
So actually, Neil, there's something in that we've transcended a discussion of what colour music is, and you've just gone with who.
You would think that by now we would have got past the idea that something is black music and something is white music. I think it's a really unfortunate list because One Extra brands itself as a black and urban music station. And urban is just another euphemism for black.
Is it? I mean, will it ever mean anything other?
Well, the question is, where is music now? You know, in fact, music is without colour, really. The popular music that we listen to is blended across hip-hop, urban music, club music, chart music, dance music, rock music. It's just everybody's listening to all this stuff and it's all blended together and they're not really caring about
Where does Ed Sheeran sit then within that?
But he's very interesting. He's in a sense, he's a singer-songwriter, an acoustic singer-songwriter, which is a very white genre.
Right.
But he's brought in a hip-hop inflection. He works with the rappers. His rhyming schemes are hip-hop. So he's a very modern contemporary artist that does sit across these genres. But if you're a young black artist looking for a niche station that's going to support young black artists, I think to be told that red is the new black is fairly disappointing.
Is it about class, this? Because when you look at the other people on the list, like Disclosure and Sam Smith, and they will say, oh, the son of a banker. Is it not about colour, but about...
Not at all. As far as I'm concerned, it's about music. If we're talking Disclosure, house music, that was created by a black guy. That's got nothing to do with whether it's a white guy creating it. As long as you pay homage to where it came from and appreciate the music, I'm happy with polka dot people with stripes doing it, to be honest.
What about the station? Do you think it's time we stopped having a station that thinks of itself as serving black music?
I think One Extra does support us as a black artist. It supports me and it supports many others. And Ed Sheeran did come from his collaborations EP and people that he's worked with. It's only now that we've seen his further stuff that's taken him further along, acoustic
black artists
stuff.
Do struggle. They are underrepresented in popular music in the major white countries of Britain, America, these huge Western things. So they need some kind of infrastructure support, and that's what One Extra was invented for. But then it's stuck with the fact that it wants to play pop music that people are listening to, and it plays as much music by white artists as black artists.
The US now, Ed Sheeran and Sam Smith, they're #1 and 2, right, in the Billboard charts in the US.
The Iggy Azalea at the moment is the biggest female rapper the world's ever seen, and she's a white girl from Australia, and she's a fairly generic rapper, and I think that she's got that push. It's the Elvis syndrome, if we can find a white artist who can do this black music really well.
But she still mimics an accent there, doesn't she?
But she puts on an American accent and she does an American style, but she's a white rapper. Like Elvis was a white rock and roller, and that's still a big impetus within the music business.
Are you surprised that we have a problem with this list?
Things can be taken out of context. I do believe his point when I sit down and say, yes, there should be a lot more support for black artists in general. However, I want to that's a whole nother subject that I can sit and talk about for days.
All right.
But yeah.
We'll invite you next door then. XO Man and Neil McCormick, thank you. Thanks for coming in. That's it for tonight, but we leave you with a Nobel Prize winning author and freedom